Okay, so I was attending a group for autism, for adults with autism, so they can talk about their experiences, their symptoms, where they differ, where they have similarities, and we could all be talked through basically good methods to help cope, or just in general. It was supposed to be a group where everyone was there just to get a better understanding of themselves and be in like a very safe environment to talk about their experiences being autistic. And it was mostly for adults who had recently been diagnosed. I haven't been diagnosed recently. I was diagnosed as a kid, but I thought it'd be interesting to attend, and the invite was extended to me and my brother. So we were like, why not? Let's go. Now, something very, very funny and quite interesting happened. So we went to the place, and it was in this like little doctor's building, right? And where it was situated was behind a huge car park. So we parked like on the road just opposite the building, and then we walked towards this big brick building, and we were like, right, so where's the entrance? Now, I hadn't been there before, neither had my brother, but our parents were there, and our mother decided just to point us around the corner and said, I believe the entrance is that way, and she pointed us literally far to the right and just around the corner, and she said that would be the entrance. Now, it's funny because if you have autism, you'll probably understand why this became confusing. Now, if you have autism, or people with autism, they tend to like take things very literally, or if something isn't super clear that otherwise would be really clear to someone who's neurotypical, then it can cause situations, it can cause issues. It's like something's meant to be obvious, but if you're neurodivergent, it's not necessarily obvious to you. It's really hard to put into words, but perhaps you'll get what I mean when I finish the story. So we walked around the corner, and what we were expecting to see was, maybe like a big double doors, like a sliding door, maybe a turning door, basically just a door that looks like it would be the entrance to a doctor's surgery or something like that. So we went around the corner, and there wasn't one. There was just more of a brick wall. There was what looked like to be a garden or a small courtyard with like stone pathways and trees and all of that. And there was a small, thin, like metal door that looked basically like a maintenance hatch of sorts. And next to that, there was a black box with buttons on it and a little intercom thing. And then there was a black gate that was locked. Now, on the gate, it said, what did it say? It said something about deliveries on it. Now, when we looked at the gates, this didn't look like what we were picturing as an obvious entrance, right? So me and my brother stood there for a minute thinking, is this where we get into the building or not? We saw the little black box intercom, and it had a little picture of a bell and everything, but we weren't sure if that was meant to be for the gate or not. So we walked up to the gate, and we went to go and try it just in case, but it was locked. Because the sign on the gate said something about this being like a delivery point, and the only car parking space by it was designated for like trucks or like certain types of vehicles, we didn't see this as an entrance. Yeah, it didn't look obvious. We couldn't determine it to be one. We looked through the gate. We did see another set of doors, but it kind of looked like what would be a garden at the back of a building, the back entrance of a building. And it kind of threw us for a loop, just that one little use of words on the gate and the fact it wasn't obvious. So we turned around and we were like, well, this can't be the entrance, no way. So let's go around the other side of the building. We started walking away from it, and our parents hadn't left yet. So they were like, wait, what are you doing? Where are you going? And we said, that's not the entrance. And then they were like, no, it has to be. I'm pretty sure the entrance is around that way. So our dad, he walked with us round the corner to the gate. Now to him, he looked at the intercom, looked at the gate, pressed the button picture on the intercom, and sound went off, like this little like ding sound, and the gate unlocked itself. So it was the entrance. We walked in, and then our parents were laughing at us like, really? Come on, this was clearly the entrance. But to us, it wasn't clearly the entrance. But we were afraid of being late as well, so we were getting anxious. Anyway, we laughed about it because we got it wrong, but we're used to things like that. And we decided to just go and walk inside. Now, the real funny bit about this situation, or the really interesting bit, is when we walked inside, and after we waited for a little bit to be picked up by the people who'd be kind of overseeing the group session, and we went upstairs with them, we walked in and we started the meeting. Somewhere into the meeting, we started talking about things being quite literal. And that when I say being literal, I don't mean you have to be clear with your words. That's one thing if you're talking to someone who's got autism. But it also can mean things like time management. Now, for lots of people with autism, they hate being too late or too early. For me, I can't stand it. I have to leave at the exact right time that'll take me to get to where I want to go, so that I'm there at exactly the right time. If I'm late, I feel anxious and I don't like it because I feel like I've done something wrong. If I'm early, then I hate having to wait around for what I'm there for to start. Like, doctors, like, waiting rooms? No way. Even queues are pretty bad. So, anyway, it's stuff like that. We started talking about that aspect of autism, and the woman in charge made a reference to the show Patience. If you haven't seen it, you should, because apparently it's really good, and I'll check it out myself. But the main character is representing someone who's autistic, and she has these kinds of situations. Now, they were talking about stuff like that, and they made a mention of the gate round the back of the building, because the woman in charge said when she saw that gate and it wasn't obviously for someone who is autistic, portrayed as an entrance to the building, she had thought to herself at the time, I wonder if this will trip anyone up. The second she said that, me and my brother started laughing and admitted, yeah, actually it did trip us up. We almost didn't come in. We were going to walk around the building. But then not just us. The other 3 people who were there started laughing as well, because everyone had had that moment with the gate. And it was funny and interesting because though autism differs from individual to individual, this was like one of those moments where everyone was on the same page and we understood why. So in certain times, if you're on your own, that might be like a really frustrating situation because you don't want to look stupid in case you're getting it wrong, because you know you could be getting it wrong. But at the same time, you're so convinced that it's not correct that you're going to try and find an alternate route which can make you late. See where the frustration is and the unclearness, the vagueness or whatever. But it was funny because everyone was laughing about it because we were on the same page still, you know. It was almost like an inside joke, and both the women in charge of the session were laughing as well, like, oh my god, you actually did. And yeah, one of the dudes there said that he couldn't find another entrance to the building. That was the only one. So he even considered climbing over the gate because it didn't even occur to him that intercom was there and the button was there to press for the gate. Now, I can understand why for my father it was so clear. And he can understand why it would be so clear for some people. But we understand that we might not find that to be clear for ourselves. You see, it's very strange. It's a strange situation. One of the girls also turned around and said, oh no, she saw it, was convinced it couldn't be the entrance, was so worried about being late, she walked around the entire building looking for another entrance. When she didn't see another entrance, she came back to the gate, but she was still convinced it couldn't possibly be the entrance because it didn't look like what she was picturing. Now, that's what autism can be like. Like, that's just one example of how an autistic brain may differ to a neurotypical brain, but not in a very, very severe way, but still in a way that could either be frustrating or humorous. Now, me and my brother just found it mostly funny, and so did the others, because we were all like, oh my god, yeah, we got it wrong. But I don't know, I just remembered that little story there because I was talking to my brother, and it came to mind, and I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm just going to make this into a video. See if anyone's had a similar situation. So if you have, put it in the comments section. And if you like any of the other videos I have talking about ADHD or autism, then please follow me here on TikTok, so it'd be a big help. Anyway, that's all I got for now. See you another time. Bye.